Welcome back. I'm Bree Payton in for Liz Wheeler. A new poll reveals a majority of Republicans, 58%, think that colleges and universities have a negative impact on the nation. Conservatives have long been concerned about liberal bias on campuses. And with me now is senior counsel and the director for the Center for Academic Freedom with the Alliance for Defending Freedom, Casey Maddox. Casey, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Bree.
So a lot of the media are covering this study like Republicans are just a bunch of knuckle-dragging losers. This is what Salon had to say about the issue, and I quote, "America hits peak anti-intellectualism. Majority of Republicans now think college is bad." Casey, is that true? Do Republicans hate knowledge, or is there something else going on here?
No, the way you have true knowledge is allowing people to be able to speak freely on a university campus, and unfortunately, that's exactly the problem. That for decades now, you've had particularly liberals on university campuses not allowing conservatives to speak, and not allowing Christian and conservative pro-life students to be able to participate freely in the marketplace of ideas. That's the problem. That's why people are looking, in a study like this, people are saying that these universities are stifling free speech. They're stifling knowledge. That's the problem.
Right. And the ladies of The View the other day, they kind of lost their minds over these statistics. Let's watch.
I have a feeling that some of those people felt that there is a bias on many college campuses, on the majority of college campuses. I've seen it. I've lectured at a bunch of college campuses. I've taught at college campuses.
Actually, I've done a lot of lecturing.
And referencing.
You know what?
There is a bias that students come out with, A, and then B, maybe they were also saying, no, they read. You don't believe that there's a bias in the majority? There's not a liberal bias in the majority of college.
This is what's crazy to me.
We all went to college here, okay? Do you remember when Trump was running? He said, I love the educated, I love the poorly educated. The Republican Party may like the poorly educated because they vote for them.
Casey, I think that conversation just kind of epitomizes liberal smugness and liberal closed-mindedness. And my favorite part of the exchange is when all of the ladies were like, oh, we all went to college and, that's why we're so awesome and look at us, we're not terrible. I think a lot of conservatives would look at those ladies on The View and say, that's exactly what's wrong with higher education. You guys are the living, breathing example of that. What's your take?
We have, this is not an isolated problem on university campuses. We've sued over a dozen different schools in the last year alone for violating students' First Amendment rights. All of those cases are students from the right. They are Young Americans for Liberty, Young Americans for Freedom, Students for Life, Christian students who are trying to speak out and voice their own opinions on university campuses and are being told that they're not allowed to do that on many university campuses across the country. And that's in red states, it's in blue states, it's all over the place. So when people experience that, when they see that and acknowledge that that's happening, you don't have to look very far. Look at what's happening at Berkeley and at Middlebury and many of these schools across the country. I don't know how the folks on The View can ignore what we are seeing on a daily basis from these universities.
Yeah, and enrollment at Mizzou, which has kind of been the epicenter of this free speech on college campus issue, their enrollment has actually decreased by 35% this year, and they're not alone. The president of Evergreen College said that they also saw a decline in enrollment. Do you think that the declining enrollments in these oppressive campuses is a win for free speech?
Well, I think certainly that university administrators are going to have to wake up and realize that students demand free speach and that parents demand that their students be able to actually voice their own opinions on university campuses and not be indoctrinated. One of the ways that universities actually educate you, the way they're supposed to educate students, is through other students. You go to college and you learn something from professors, but you also learn from being with other students who have different views. And when universities are not allowing students to be able to speak freely, universities really aren't serving the purpose that they were set out to serve.
Yeah, and this kind of intolerance really manifests itself in the media too. Just this week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions delivered remarks at the Alliance for Defending Freedom, which is the organization that you work at, and they called you guys, and I quote, ABC News called you guys this, an anti-LGBT hate group. Now, that's a designation that the Southern Poverty Law Center, which itself is a wacko leftist group that likes to demonize organizations that it happens to disagree with. So, do you think that there is a correlation between intolerance in ideas on college campuses and the coverage that we're seeing in the media?
Well, I think that's certainly true. I mean, look, ADF is defending the free speech rights and the religious freedom rights of people all over this country, of all faiths, right? When we win these cases for students who are conservative students, we also win those rights for people who are liberal. We win those rights for students who are not Christians when we defend the right to be able to speak freely about your faith on campus. That doesn't apply somehow just to one particular faith group. We're defending freedom for everybody. So when the SPLC makes a statement like this, when they claim that ADF is a hate group, it's simply and frankly an ignorant label come from the SPLC. We are spending our time, our resources, trying to defend freedom for everyone, and you have the SPLC spending its time throwing around these false accusations that unfortunately places like ABC just decide to repeat without any real journalism behind it all. It's disappointing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, we have the remarks that Attorney General Jeff Sessions delivered to you guys that ABC News refused to run on their website. We have those remarks in full over at thefederalist.com, so you can click over and read that in full over there. And the speech was about the importance of First Amendment freedom, which ADF fights for, and religious freedoms. So, I guess a lot of people just hate freedom now, which is unfortunate. Casey, we're all out of time. Thank you so much for taking the time to join.